Don't let them in my soul. Don't let them in my soul. Don't let them.
We're back. It's your boy Rhodes. Got a really disturbing video for you guys today about two comedians that honestly I can't protect. If you guys haven't heard about the news recently about Tiffany Haddish and Arie Spears, Tiffany Haddish, if you aren't familiar with it, is a very well-known comedian recently. She's mostly known for her role in Girls Trip. I think she also helped write the script for it, and I don't really know her for anything else besides that. I mean, she's a comedian, but I never personally liked her too much. I never honestly laughed. She was kind of like corny to me compared to other comedians of her caliber. Like, I grew up watching Wanda Sykes, what is it, Miss Laverne? So, no, Lynette. Lynette, that's what her name is, Lynette. And it's like, she's like very cringe for me. And Arie Spears is a well-known comedian. I mean, this guy was like top tier comedian. His impressions are on point. He was known for being on Mad TV. He had some takes on certain things, but that's how he's known for, having takes for certain crazy stuff that he thinks about. And I don't blame him. Everybody has some crazy takes. But recently, they did expose for a skit that happened 7 years ago, in which I don't know how anybody didn't see this skit until recently, or how they're even in the industry right now, because this skit is disgusting. So recently, a video surfaced of the Doomer skit where Tiffany Haddish plays a mother that leaves her kid with, like, I guess, like the uncle, and Arie's supposed to be playing an uncle that's like a pedo, and they got like, and then the fact that they even trying to make the skit funny, I don't know what was even the purpose of this skit, but it wasn't like for SNL or anything like that. It was like for, I honestly don't know what it was for. I can't imagine, like, but recently it surfaced, I believe, because Arie made comments about Lizzo, and also they're being sued by two of the kids that was shown in the skit for the fact that they felt like they was being used. Like, it wasn't right, honestly. And at the time, the kid's 7 years old. I don't know about the other kid, but there's one where he's like 7 years old. And at one point, like, Arie has like, what is it, this newspaper, and he's like looking at the kid. I don't know, they blocked up. I don't know if he has anything on or anything, but he's like looking through the newspaper, and I'm like being a creep, like, playing pedal roll, and I didn't see like the funniness in it. I don't know what the social commentary about or what it was about. Like, was this for an ad or something? I have no idea, because the skit honestly wasn't funny. It was disturbing, and the fact, like, this just surfaced and we just found out about it, kind of bothers me, because, like, who else is out there doing these type of things and thinking it's funny? I don't think any of that's funny, like, to the victims, to people that know others. And honestly, it's kind of disgusting that the parents even let these kids do it. Personally, I don't know if the parents knew what the skit was about. I mean, I don't see how they couldn't. If it's been 7 years now, they had to see what they was filming, or even why you would even put your kid in that position to even play a role in that. Like, that's just disturbing to me. And I can't even just blame them. It's accountability from the parents' side. Like, even it's kind of similar with the R. Kelly situation. Like, for money, these people are putting their kids in harm's way, and it's scary. Now, me personally, I feel like Tiffany Haddish is going to get off with this. Why? Because I feel like society nowadays doesn't see a lot of, like, women as a threat when it comes to stuff like that. But you have to understand, sometimes they do aid in things like that, because the fact is, people are very comfortable around women. I mean, I would be comfortable around a woman watching my kid, but then you don't think about the fact is, not everybody's there in the head, and no matter man or woman, they're capable of doing horrible things to people's children. And me personally, if you want to take a look at the skit yourself, look it up. I wouldn't want to post it, because I wouldn't want anybody seeing that. It was disturbing to me. I only watched like an edited clip. of a YouTuber that already had like edited certain parts out, so you don't have to see it. You know, the disturbing parts. He even had to skip some, so I never got to see the full video, but just the small parts I got to see. I wasn't comfortable watching it. I didn't even think it was funny at all. Like, where was the comedy in it? Like, I understand as comedians, you shouldn't have a boundary when it comes to jokes because comedians are like they talk about things that we are comfortable about in society, and they bring the light and they make us laugh about it, but also realize the flaws and also what how we view certain things. Dave Chappelle, for example, his transgender jokes were not to hurt anyone, but to shed light on the fact is it's not just people that aren't in that community that are judging them. It's also their own community. Like when he told this joke about his friend Daphne, and a lot of people that went over their heads toward the end because they didn't realize like he's telling this story because his friend took their life because of the fact is they were getting bullied by their community because she supported him because of the fact is she was a comedian herself aspiring, and it's tragically that happened. And me personally, I didn't feel like that was right on their part, but that's just an example of like how jokes can be used in a way to shed light on things that aren't okay and help everybody's society kind of like look at things in a different sense and also understand like maybe we aren't being right when it comes to certain things. And the only way sometimes you can tell that is through jokes, like when they make certain jokes about certain races, is because of certain stereotypes people say. But it's funny when you hear it in a joke because you can relate, you can laugh, and like you take it less lighthearted than when you hear somebody say something like straight up, you know. But in this sense, this joke didn't hold well at all because it's not funny. There's victims out there, you know, that actually been hurt by this stuff. Um, Me personally, I remember watching Cat Williams, and I think he was the first indicator that a lot of like comedians aren't being chosen because they're purely funny. It's for the aesthetic of what community they support and push forward. Like Cat Williams said himself, the only reason like Tiffany Haddish is even famous not because even she's funny, because she's not funny. Me personally, I don't find her funny. It's because of the fact is she caters to the white men. This is from Cat Williams himself. He was on a talk show with it, and he said a lot of gems in there that made sense. Like when it comes to when in comedy, they choose in the black for like what black comedians they try to choose unattractive comedians because they look funny, because they're funny looking in a sense. And I started thinking about like he named like Lil Rel, Tiffany Haddish. I think Michael Carmichael, I believe. Don't quote me on that one, but I believe he added that in, and he also talked about like people aren't being judged off their actual comedy skill when it comes to the black community and the comedians. They're being looked at as like jokes or like jesters, and that's why he personally was like blackballed from a lot of stuff because he wasn't playing that game. Dave Chappelle, he wasn't playing that game. A lot of comedians that don't play that game and they're very successful. I feel like personally she's gonna get away with this. Arie, he might be held accountable more because the fact is he just makes a lot of comments that people could use against him. Like when he commented on Lizzo being unhealthy and she's unattractive. There's nothing wrong with his view. I completely agree with the fact is if you're unhealthy, that's not something you should promote. But like at a time like this is not a great time for him to be speaking on things like that when he has videos out in such a manner. And I feel like they both should be held accountable. Because if not, we're going to get more people that's going to think this is okay to do. And I don't know the world today, but things are very different than back in the day where certain things are off limit. And I feel like that is like, it's just reaching. You're reaching and it kind of shows that in Hollywood, Hollywood if you will call it, that there's a true aspect that there's something going on that we don't know about. Now, me personally, I spoke my opinions on it. I just brought this to light so you guys could check up on yourself, check it out on your own. comment on this video, give me some feedback, and let me know what you think. Do you agree with my stance? Do you disagree? Do you guys know any other comedians that did something similar to this and nobody ever talked about? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's not something I personally like talking about, but I had to shed light, especially when it comes to the comedy community. Like, I'm a big comedy stan, and I don't want other comedians suffering because of something these two chose to do in a distasteful way. So, I hope you guys enjoy your night. Peace and pray.